Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. My name is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the future of work consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And I'm joined today by Simon. Simon, can you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you do?
Hi, my name is Simon De Baene. I'm 39 years old. I co-founded a company called Workleap 18 years ago.
Mhm.
We're a SaaS company. We build software for HR and IT, and we're all about enabling employees to work at their best. So we have different software around employee engagement, performance management, skills development, training, and many more. So I'm passionate about work. It's been my passion since day one, and we managed to build an exceptional company of 450 people with 20,000 customers around the world in more than 100 countries. We were bootstrapped until last year when we raised $125 million from an institution, a bank in Canada. Yeah, I think it's a good summary.
Excellent. Now, you've been focusing on the question of remote work and hybrid work, and so you have suggested that forcing employees back to the office might be a way for companies to avoid addressing deeper issues. So, what are you talking about? What's going on? What are the deeper issues that they're not addressing by trying to launch RTO like Amazon is or Boeing is, forcing employees all the way back to the office 5 days a week?
Yeah, I mean we've been very office centric for most of our existence as a
Mhm.
company, and I don't think I've realized it until I was we were forced to get out of the office
Mm.
during the pandemic, and it just became obvious at that point that the office was a massive distraction
Mm.
for us. Being outside the office, it's kind of forcing you to think about how you collaborate as a team, how you
Mhm.
communicate. And it's like there's a lot of issues. When I say that is that there's a lot of issues that we know that they are there, but when we're in person, it's like they're not that such a problem. We can kind of deal
Mm.
with, but I mean, we can think of the endless amount of meetings that we have when we're at the office. It's just too easy to grab to go in a conference room and just start a meeting about everything and anything. The lack of documentation, because whenever you're in the office and you have people next to you, it's always a good reason to not document something because you
Yeah.
can just ask the question to someone else. But it works until the person is no longer there and you end up
Mm.
having to kind of rethink uh, uh, about stuff that you should already have documented a long time
Mhm.
ago. Poor use of technology. We're all using technologies and we all have tools at the office,
Yeah.
but embracing the tools for real is something very different. If you're not like
Mm.
using it like to the full extent, you're not getting like the most of the value that can be provided. And
Mhm.
usually when you're in person, it tends like you're using the tools, but it's like kind of in a very half-baked way. We can think of the distractions. The office we built over the different years were beautiful, were amazing, big open space, a lot of
Mhm.
people. You could feel like there was something special about it. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, there was a lot of noise. Distraction
Mm.
was very heavy. People asking questions randomly,
Yeah.
people making noise. It's not on purpose. Everyone's well
Sure.
intentioned, but that's the kind of the open space is like I'm not the first saying that, but it's
Mhm.
kind of it's a great idea on paper, but in reality is a bit difficult.
Mm.
What else? How we measure the business. So we all have different ways of measuring the business, but until
Mhm.
you're forced to be outside the office, you actually need like the actual tools to help you measure what's going on. So whenever if you stay in the office, sometimes you can kind of sense the room, feel it, you kind of know what's going on, but
Yeah.
you're not forced to kind of have actual. very tangible measurement and tools
Mm.
to do that. And then like the offline conversations that a lot of people like to have whenever it's the chit chat happening at the office where you're
Mhm.
potentially making a big decision for a project and the conversation remain offline and nobody's aware of those
Oh, yeah.
conversations. So, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And there's what else? Yeah, and just the all the processes that we're kind of we don't fully automate because we're kind of relying on people to
Mhm.
make them work until the people are no longer there. And yeah, so my point here is that a lot of these things seems to be minor and not like critical to the business. But when
Yeah.
you add them up all together, you end up having a lot of little things that don't work for the business and are really killing efficiency and productivity
Mhm.
as a company. And being in person is always a good reason to push back on fixing those
Mhm.
things. And remote or not, if we would focus on fixing a lot of what I just mentioned, we could
Mhm.
be building much stronger companies able to compete in a much better way.
Yeah, not wasting time on commuting. That's definitely a
Definitely.
benefit. So you named a lot of benefits of working remotely, not having an office and being intentional about structuring it. And I work with a number of companies to help them figure out their hybrid work and remote work arrangements. And there are some challenges that they run into, like employee engagement. How do you engage employees effectively? What about building an organizational culture in a remote setting? So can you tell me a little bit more about those? Let's say start with employee engagement, and then we'll move on to organizational culture.
Yeah, it's I think we're all a bit struggling. We're all trying to crack the code on how we can keep building the culture and engagement
Mhm.
like it used to be
Yeah.
before hybrid or remote became like pretty much the standard in a lot of
Mhm.
environments. But to me, work will never be the same. And it's like it's a new reality that we need to accept. And whenever there's something new, there are pros and cons. I think
Mhm.
we're struggling a bit on accepting the cons. We just want the pros. We want to keep the pros that we used to have in the past, and we
Mhm.
want the pros that comes with the new reality that we have now. So work will never be the same. I've accepted that work will be a bit less about socializing and making friends.
Mhm.
Uh, we're definitely going to be spending way less time at the office sitting next
Yeah.
to people. So there's a good chance you won't socialize than it used to be. And work will be a bit more transactional.
Mhm.
Um, and and it doesn't mean that it's just one or the other. Like what I'm saying, it's a bit more transactional, less socializing.
Mhm.
These things that we kind of used to enjoy can happen elsewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
socializing can happen outside of work. And if I think of my situation with Workleap, we used to be a place where you could spend a lot of time. The day your day at work was over, you could stay at the office and
Mhm.
and just uh just talking with people and grab a beer and like the typical stuff.
Sure.
Uh, and now that we're fully remote, it's a bit more difficult.
Mhm.
So that's for me the change that we need to accept and when we think about the pros,
Mhm.
um, I think we're enabling an incredible flexibility that wasn't there before.
Mhm.
Like for the
Yeah.
last few years, I have like three kids, five, three, and
Ah.
one. I was able to see my kids pretty much every day and
Mm.
for hours, like something that is very different than what it was with my parents because they
Oh,
were
sure.
working full time at the office an hour and a half to go and like it was
Mhm.
3 hours of driving every day
Oof.
and So flexibility, and I think it's the big thing that we're all kind of like gaining from that new
Mhm.
reality. And I think that the that flexibility is contributing a lot to the engagement that people
Mhm.
can have at work. Uh,
Mm.
and also create like an environment where trust is stronger. I mean, when you can't see people, you kind of need to trust them that work
Yeah.
will happen. So I think we're able to create more trust at work, and this is
Mhm.
another thing people really enjoy
Mhm.
when we talk about engagement at work. In terms of culture, I think it's just an opportunity to value different things. You know,
Mm.
we the 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 vibe that we used to have in our office was certainly fun, and there was a lot of human connection and a lot of socialization, and
Mhm.
but now we shift more on a high performing culture where the culture is around the products that we're building and the passion to build product. So it's not that we lost everything that we had, but now that we just need to value different things. And now I think it's about the craft that we're doing, and it's about hiring people that share a common passion about building products. And
Mm.
that's what we do at Workleap, but for other companies, it could be something else. But
Sure.
it's just a matter of valuing like valuing different things. And in terms of culture building around like bringing people together, I think we just need to be a bit more intentional. You know,
Mhm.
I used to, if I think in the past, we used to be like 400 people in the same office. We
Mhm.
used to see each other every single day, but at
Mhm.
some point we took it for granted. It
Mm.
didn't mean anything at some point. It was just seeing people at the office. And as soon as we lost that, we kind of realized that, oh, it's actually fun to be with people. It's not
Sure.
like it to be focused at home in front of our computer. It's is great for it. I really enjoy it. But being
Mhm.
with people, it's also something great. So now we need to be a bit more intentional on creating these special moments. And for us, it's about we're bringing everyone at the office twice a year. So it's
Ah.
450 people that we fly from around North America to
Mhm.
Montreal, where we will take 3 days where we're going to talk about strategy. We're going to be doing some community stuff for different cause.
Mhm.
We're going to be partying. We're going to be
Nice.
spending time together. We're going to be talking about innovation. We're going to inspire each other with different topics. We're going to it's really like a very intense 3 days.
Mhm.
It's kind of like we're just refilling our ads with like the importance of the people we work with, and it changed a bit how we you collaborate with those
Sure.
people once you get out of these kind of event, because you're able to see a face, you're able to see like an actual person behind the screen. I think these moments are really important. It's just that they don't happen every day, but
Mhm.
when they happen, we're actually uh like take the most out of it.
Yeah.
Compared to before, I think we're spending way less time together, but when we're together, I think we're really getting the most out of it. And I think I would argue that it's potentially better than it used to be, because
Mm.
being full time with everyone, you kind of it's normal. Like you don't.
Mm.
So
Don't value it. Yeah.
there's ways to build a great culture. It's just we need to accept that it's very different, and it's
Mhm.
it's probably not for everyone. We when we were at the office, we used to hire people that really enjoy being in the office, surrounded with people. And I think there's a lot of
Mhm.
people who really enjoy that. And I think
Sure.
there's still a lot of like work out there that requires in person,
Mhm.
that fits perfectly for these people. Uh, but there's also a lot of people who switch their mindset. A lot of people were a bit like, I don't really enjoy it. And
Yeah.
after a few months, it's like, oh, that's actually interesting. I'm getting
Mhm.
more work done. I got more flexibility. I'm more organized in my work. I use technology more. There's a lot of good things that comes with that, and I think people start realizing how powerful and good it is for their day to day.
Oh, it's an excellent message. And the funny thing you should mention that I'm going to actually facilitate one of these retreats for a company in Hawaii I'm leaving on in just about 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks. So I know how powerful those are, and we're just actually preparing, strategizing for all the elements. Usually what we do is we think about three elements. One is strategic planning, one is socializing, and one is professional development. So kind of dividing up those elements. Is that the kind of thing that you have in your own retreats as well?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of organization. We did
Mhm.
it. I think it's gonna be our fifth or sixth one.
Nice.
And it's been yeah, it's probably aligned with these themes. Maybe
Mhm.
professional development is I mean being there and the type of activities that we're doing is probably contributing to that. But I would say
Mhm.
it's more like socializing, definitely. Uh, Community work, whenever it's usually the one just before Christmas.
Mm.
We kind of like to get involved in few specific cause that are
Nice.
related to us. Um, we're doing also like a leadership day where it's only the managers and directors,
Yeah,
VPs at
sure.
level, where
That's
it's
the strategic planning part. Yeah.
I wouldn't say we do strategic plan. I think we're making sure we're aligned on how we the philosophy of how we run the business, how we want
Okay.
to run the teams, how we,
Mm.
just it's not that we couldn't do it with the entire company, but I think it's good to have like smaller events with people
Sure.
in leadership roles. I think they appreciate that, and
Hmm.
for me and my team, it's a great opportunity to be spending quality time with the leaders because they're actually the in a especially in a remote environment,
Hmm.
you rely on those people to amplify the message and make sure that
Yeah.
they I mean, they're the ones spending the times with the team in the day to day, and
Hmm.
you need them to really understand what the business is all about, where the business is going. So yeah, and now I'm starting a new rituals with this the senior leadership team where it's once a month we're spending a full day together. It used
Oh,
to be once every
nice.
3 months, but I think it's important uh,
Hmm.
to have these moments and we're lucky we have the team in Montreal and Toronto, so we're not
Hmm.
far from each other, so
That's
we can
great.
go to Toronto, Montreal. Anyway,
Hmm.
so my realization is that we're a remote company. We spend probably 99% of our time remote, but the in-person moment done well are extremely valuable, and they really make the remote motion more effective because at the end of the day, we're human being, human
Hmm.
connection. It's not it is really important at work, outside of work, and companies still depends on high performing teams to be successful, and that
Hmm.
performance happen when at least there. I mean, it works happens for many reasons, but I think trust is really very very important, and trust I think is can be more easily built in person.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Simon. This has been very helpful. I really appreciate you sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
And thank you to the audience for checking out another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps others discover the show and it helps us improve the show.